game time. Lock in. Welcome to the show. This is the Game HQ podcast. Let it go. Hey.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Game HQ podcast. This is Alejandro coming to you live from episode 1. We got the whole gang here, everybody. Just want to introduce everyone. I'm going to start off to my left, even though none of y'all can see me. Say what's up.
What's up, guys? My name is Yarrick. I'm excited to talk about what is the Beast of the East. We are, and we're going to have a fun season.
Alrighty.
What's happening, everybody? It's Alex, new addition over here. Also going to be representing the East over here. As you said, you know, we think it's the best conference, though.
Well, we know it is.
Debatable.
It is.
Debatable, guys.
We'll
Debatable.
We'll have to see.
Obviously, we have our lovely moderator back at it again.
Hi, everybody. It's Eric.
Woo. And the man that we all were talking about last episode, he finally came back. A married man now.
Yeah.
What's up, Cody?
What's up, guys? I'm Cody. I'm back. Me and Alejandro are going to be covering the West this year. We did a little bit of NHL coverage last year, and we're going to just hop into all different sports now.
Alrighty. So, you know, this is episode 1. If you caught us back in episode 0, we kind of did a preview about how everything was going to go. Talked a little bit about every single sport at this time. Now that everybody's here, everyone is going to be picking their sides. Obviously, you've heard when everyone was talking, both Yarrick and Alex are going to be handling everything in the East Coast, while Cody and I are handling everything in the West Coast. Eric, obviously, like I said, will be our lovely moderator throughout these conversations. So at this time, Eric, I'm going to give you the floor. So you tell us where you want us to start.
That's mighty kind of you. I think we're in the middle of, or the throes of the NBA season. I think that's a good place to kick it off.
Sounds good.
Lots to talk about. Obviously, we got the West, OKC, the Nuggets, top contenders over there. The East has got some young up-and-comers with the Pistons. The Knicks look good. I don't know. Take it away, East Coast. What do you got for me?
Thanks, man. I think obviously the West has been dominant in the NBA for at the moment the last couple of years, but I think the East is in a fun spot. You know, the Pistons are looking like favorites to win the East. However, you know, the Celtics are just got Tatum back, so that's going to be exciting for them. And then you have the Knicks and the Cavs, who are like gritty, in my opinion, gritty teams. I think a lot of people could agree with that, but also have fun, exciting depth to the roster too. Like just, I think it was last night with the Pistons lost to the Cavs without Donovan Mitchell. And imagine that with him, it makes it even more exciting. What do you think?
Yeah, so like I think the East has definitely become more competitive over the last couple of years, right? I mean, a little biased over here, a New York fan, right? So hoping for the best.
Oh God, here we go.
But like obviously Pistons are the favorite, right? They're 5 games ahead in the East here. Boston snuck up there in the second spot. They're 41-21, right? 5 games back. Knicks are a game and a half back from that. And then you got Cleveland in the mix there, too, also adding a big-time player there recently, right? James Harden, who just came back from the fractured thumb, right?
Yeah, I was curious. I didn't even know if he was coming back.
Yeah, he came back. He dropped 22 in the last game, so it looks like he's back to normal.
He's looking like old James Harden. Right?
Yeah. So this is definitely getting a little bit more competitive, right? Obviously, we got that play-in now, right? So the teams looking for the East play-in right now, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? Magic at 7, Miami at 8. Hornets at 9, right? Like that's a little bit of a surprise there.
Wow. Wait, we know why the Hornets are 9. Because it's that stellar rookie that's over there.
Yes, yeah, definitely a rookie of the year contender right there with Khan, and then rounding out the play-in right at Atlanta Hawks, sitting there at 14.5 games back at the top, but
Playing some good ball with it.
Yeah, so East is looking a lot better, a lot more competition, but definitely looking at those top 4 teams, right? Those are the favorites for NBA.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, even if the playing teams come in, like those are the teams that are probably gonna take them out.
Well, that's if the season ended right now, right?
Oh, 100%.
I mean, we all can say well and good right now, but it all depends on what happens in April.
And that also comes down to injuries, which right now the Cavs are kind of in that issue that they're having with injuries coming in, especially with Donovan Mitchell, to see where he's going to be in April. You know,
is Mobley still hurt?
I'm not sure. Let me actually look.
Yeah, I mean, when we looked that up, like another thing to point out too, like with this Boston team, right? Like as a New York fan, it's tough to talk about Boston like that, but their addition of Vucevic right at the center position, that's a big pickup for them. And then obviously with Tatum coming back possibly on Friday, announced like today. So that's definitely a good addition. Obviously, Tatum's going to be on minute restrictions, so we'll have to see how much time he gets in there. But Boston's in a very scary little position, being 41-21, kind of breezing into the playoffs there. And the Knicks, right? The Knicks are the Knicks.
Yeah.
Right? So it's good to see finally.
Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, it's finally good to see the Knicks are kind of getting a run going again. But this is a very big season for the Knicks, right? New head coach, new rotations, the bench is starting to play better. So it's going to be interesting to see how they come playoff time, right? It's one of those teams that, when they have a really high ceiling, right, they play really well, but when they're low, they're very, very low.
Yeah.
So it should be very interesting coming to the end of the stretch here.
Yeah, and I think with the roster that they have, like I said, the depth that they have, the toughness, it's finally a time where at MSG, anybody that comes there should be terrified to play. But I think now with the team that they have, they're actually you don't come there and get an easy win, even with the injuries. But we'll see.
I don't know. Certain players seem to do really well at the Garden, but we'll see how that goes. I guess.
Yeah, the East is definitely top heavy. I mean, between
For sure.
the Knicks, Pistons, Celtics, Cavs.
Pistons.
But then you go over to the Western Conference, gentlemen. It's a freaking gauntlet.
Yeah.
The Thunder, Spurs, Rockets, Timberwolves, Nuggets. The Lakers are in the 6th seeds with 2 of the top players in the sport. Rounding out the playing games, you got Phoenix, Golden State, Clippers, and Portland. West, how do you think your side stacks up?
Well, I mean, I know that you guys over there in the East Coast are saying the Eastern Conference has done a little bit better in the past couple of years, but this is a Western Conference league. We got to admit it. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander just by himself has just pretty much taken over, in my opinion, the face of the league, like we were talking about in episode 0. Now, granted, you have pretty much all of the other favorites in the West. You obviously the Nuggets with the Joker. You got Ant-Man in Minnesota. The Lakers with their 1-2 punch of Luka and LeBron, which, in my opinion, hasn't been looking so good recently. But we really can't go into saying that every single team in the West can pretty much dominate the East, because even though it's the one time you'll hear me agree with the Eastern Conference, but there are teams in the East that I think that can handle some of the Western teams. Like, Cody, what do you think about at least OKC? What do you think about that?
OKC's been dominant for, the past few years at least.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like they're kind of untouchable, which they're definitely not, but I don't know how they would fare against the Pistons right now, but I don't know. It seems like Joker, he's kind of, I want to say he's not fallen off, but he's digressed a little bit.
Like a minor dip in the game?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean,
Okay.
we all know that he just does it for a job. And
He wants to get back to his horses.
So, yeah, and there's some injuries in the West too, but I think those teams are a little bit irrelevant at the moment, right?
Yeah, well, talking about the injuries that you said, I mean, obviously key teams have lost key players, where it has made it significantly difficult for the landscape to look positive in some ways. If you're some teams, like for example Golden State, losing out on Jimmy Butler, someone that you traded for at the trade deadline last year, losing him to a torn ACL is just absolutely atrocious for your team. I know currently Stephen Curry is out. At the making of this episode, there's no full idea whether he will return within the 10 games that they were talking about, or maybe later than 10 games. Some reports have said it's at least 10 games. Others have said he's obviously a lot more, likely to come back earlier. Obviously, as we know, Stephen Curry's had a lot of issues with his ankles, and that's why, he was written off so early in his career. But obviously, as you know, the greatest shooter of all time, but having an issue with your hand is a big deal.
Yeah, and these guys are going to be coming back right before the playoffs start. So
Exactly. Like what you guys mentioned about Jason Tatum, had a torn ACL, and now all of a sudden is coming back before the season starts, which I think is insane. Let's talk about our rookies, because I personally think our rookies are a little bit more higher than the Eastern Conference rookies. I know you guys touched a little bit on Knupel. We got Cooper Flagg, we got Ace Bailey, we got Dylan Harper. Cooper Flagg, to some people who have reported the next coming of LeBron, I think that's a little outrageous. We gotta be a little bit honest with ourselves. Everybody likes to compare themselves to the last great that came in, but when you have Victor Wembanyama, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you at that point, because granted, don't get me wrong, Cooper Flagg, amazing player, great player at Duke. Watched him, him and Khan were like that 1-2 punch, over there. But I think Cooper has transitioned incredibly well into the NBA. I know some people have said he may not know the minor intangibles of the game, just because obviously it's a lot more physical than it is in college. But I think he's handled himself really well. Dylan Harper, even though he was injured in the beginning of the year, he lost a lot of time, has come back and kind of, I have seen him solidify himself within that rotation. I think him and Victor Wembanyama, obviously with Stephon Castle, who won Rookie of the Year last year, that whole core group is going to be someone to reckon with in the next couple of years. So we'll definitely see how that goes. And obviously Dylan Harper's Rutgers teammate, Ace Bailey in Utah. At one point, we didn't even know if he was going to play for the team because he was saying, I'm not going to show up to camp. And then now, since actually getting on the floor, we've seen him actually, I think he averages 15-plus points per game. He's actually doing well. He's, sitting well inside of his role with Utah. But we'll just see how everything goes at that point. But in my opinion, it's a lot of questions than I think there is answers for the NBA right now due to just the injury bug alone throughout the entire league. But I just think the West has a lot more of a better chance, obviously, because most of the Western favorites are healthy.
Talking about favorites also, do you think the Lakers are going to stay in their playoff position, or do you think they could fall out?
I think they'll make the play-in.
LeBron's first one of his years not even making the playoffs?
I think their whole team is difficult to understand. I mean, you have J.J. Redick, who is a no-nonsense coach, obviously because he's a former player, even though most of the coaches in the NBA were former players, but they're all former players in different eras of the game. Yeah. J.J. actually played as no later than the early 2010s, so it's he's still relevant in the eyes of NBA coaching, but I just think maybe they may go down. If anything, they get into the play-in, but I guess we'll see how that goes. Yeah. I do still think Oklahoma City goes back-to-back, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think this is where I'm going to step in and disagree a little bit here. Right, when we look at the West, it's not as scary as it used to be, in my opinion. Right, we're looking at obviously OKC is obviously the top. Right, they're the ones that beat. They're the defending champs. I, as a Knicks fan, am not scared of the Spurs whatsoever. Okay. Not even scared of them. Not scared of the Rockets. Not scared of the Timberwolves, and definitely not scared of the Nuggets in the West. Right, so if you're talking road to the finals for the East, it's definitely going through Detroit. But if we're talking final be final, I'm not confident as an OKC fan if I'm playing the Pistons or the Knicks or Celtics. They have their chances of being up there, but I'd be a little worried to play the Pistons if I was the OKC, to be honest.
To back up that, I'm more scared of a team that could beat the Pistons in a 7-game series. Well, obviously somebody in the West would do it if they win in the end, but if somebody in the East is able to do that with the momentum that they have right now, that's not a team I want to play against.
So are we doing a very early prediction that this is a Pistons final?
So
could they go back to the finals?
So this is where it gets tough, right? So the Pistons obviously get bounced last year to the Knicks. Shout out Knicks. Knicks in 6, literally, right? So the Pistons are a very young team, so it's very tough to navigate the playoffs as a young team. They have talent, right? Cunningham, superstar, MVP type candidate, right? Dog, right? Durant, dog, right? So they got some good players in there. The bench is pretty good. So they have what it takes to make it to the finals. But like we're saying, right? It's not just one game, not 2. It could be up to 7, right? And what would be worrisome for the Pistons is that ability to keep up with a team who's been in that position already. So I don't know. It's going to be a little tough to see. But in terms of being worried about anything in the West, I think OKC is the only team that I'd be worried about. To be honest.
I know we're covering the West, but I kind of agree with you there. The East does look a little bit scary there. Those top 3 right there are pretty strong teams.
It's okay.
Basically, either the Pistons win it or whoever beats them is going to win it.
Yeah.
Which could be the West at the end.
All right,
what
so
do you think,
let's take OKC out of it.
Okay.
Give me your NBA Finals winner with the top dog out of it.
Oof.
Who are you taking?
Pistons, Celtics, or Knicks?
So West Coast guys picking an Eastern Conference. I like it.
Damn. I don't know about that, man.
Wow.
I mean, okay, if we're taking out OKC, I think the finals picture looks like Pistons and or Knicks. I'll give the Knicks this one this year just because, no offense, to go through that type of humiliation with Tyrese. I think they have a chip on your shoulder. I'm sorry, guys. You can't sit there and say you don't.
Who are we giving the dominance to? The Spurs? The Rockets?
I don't think the Spurs are too young. The Spurs are almost in that realm of the Pistons, but the only difference is Cade Cunningham has been in the league longer, and he is their point guard. He is the dog of that team is their point guard. The dog on San Antonio is their center. So not saying a young center can't take them all the way to the NBA Finals, but the problem is that Wemby has a lot more to go through as a center than Cade has as a point guard. The only people, like I said, will probably give him problems will probably be the Celtics if Jason Tatum can get reacclimated to the team at a very quick pace, or if the Knicks just go on I'm not saying magic run, I'm talking like on a zeroed-in, tunnel vision run. Like if they just go in and just say, we don't care about anything else but the New York Knicks and the people that are in this locker room, then I can see them potentially beating the Pistons. But I wouldn't be surprised if you see Pistons in the NBA Finals. Now, when it comes to the West Coast, can you really count out Joker? Really?
He's good in the playoffs. He's gonna pull through.
He's won a championship.
Yeah.
But it all depends on the supporting cast. You got rid of Michael Porter Jr. You sent him over to Brooklyn. You know, you got back Cam Johnson, which I think in that type of scenario it was better for the Nuggets in that situation, financially and obviously. Aaron Gordon has been playing a little bit out of his means, and what I mean by that, and it's not a negative way, it's more of he has taken a lot more on since being with the team originally. Like, you've seen him shooting a lot more. His corner 3 percentages have gone up. I think from 2 years ago to last year, his percentage jumped up almost 10%, which is nuts coming from a power forward, someone who was predominantly known as a dunker in the beginning of his career. But, you know, you can't rule them out. You know, the Clippers adding Darius Garland for that James Harden swap. You know, Garland, while I have had my concerns about him in the past, I think this system with T. Lue will broaden his game. But personally, I just think, you know, I think that you have the Nuggets will probably go. But again, it all depends who's lucky, right? Injuries could ruin everybody. Like, I also think that if Tyrese Halliburton last year didn't get hurt in the finals, I think he would have brought that game fairly close. Yeah. But it just all depends. As of right now, my pick would be Detroit or New York going against maybe the Nuggets.
Wow, another Western Conference guy picking an Eastern Conference team. Gents, what do you think?
I think I'm gonna take my emotions away from my take right now, just because. While I would love the Pistons to win just because I enjoy watching them win. They're a fun team to watch. They play great basketball. I'm going to go back to the Thunder last year. They know how to win games. They know how in the modern era. They use the foul to the best of their ability. That's what makes it tough beating them in a 7-game series. But if I'm going with my top 3 favorites, it's Pistons because I think they learned a lot from last year's loss. The Knicks are still up there because they're just an annoying team to go against. It is what it is. And then the Thunder. Those are my top 3. Okay. And any order you want to take it.
I mean, yeah, it's like it's definitely a redemption run for the Pistons, right? Like, I got a feeling the Knicks and the Pistons are going to see each other in the playoffs for sure. One thing to note, even though I am a Knicks fan, again, I have to say, like, try to be a little bit off bias, is the Knicks' defensive rating has improved substantially since the beginning of January, right? Like, their report came out, they were 18th at the beginning of January, they're now 8th, right?
Wow.
So now, major turnaround in terms of defensive rating for the Knicks, which is something they definitely needed. In terms of playing like teams like OKC and the Spurs and the Pistons, right? But I will have to say the Pistons did do some damage to the Knicks during the season, so we'll have to see what it looks like come playoff time.
The self-proclaimed bad boys of this generation.
Well, it seems like if you take the Thunder out of the equation, the Eastern Conference has the upper hand in the race for the NBA Finals.
We could be spot on, or we could be completely wrong.
Right. Well, this is why we're all talking about it now. When it gets to the playoffs, guys, we'll have a lot more information to go off it, but
and admit that we were wrong about whatever we said. Yeah. So the NBA season is just getting underway towards the playoffs. The NFL season has completely wrapped. We're a couple weeks away from free agency starting. Let's put a nice little bow on the 2025 NFL season. Super Bowl champs, the Seattle Seahawks. This is the NFC, is Alex and Yarrick. Guys, a chance to gloat a little bit, talk about how good the Seahawks and the NFC were.
I mean, yeah. So, yeah, Seahawks good for those guys, right? Like, great win. I think one thing I want to highlight for the Seahawks really is like their quarterback, right, Sam Darnold, right, being passed around a couple teams. What is this, 14? Something like that, right?
I think so.
Starting off with the Jets, heading over, farther west here. Pretty good starting, position for him for Sam Darnold. Beating the Patriots 29-13, right?
Yeah.
Nothing like a close game right there. So complete beating of them.
That's an understatement.
I think one thing to highlight though, in terms of the Seahawks, right? There's their star running back Kenneth Walker III, right now getting the franchise tag, right? So becoming a free agent. Coming up this season, so it's gonna be interesting to see what they're gonna do with him, right? Obviously,
bold strategy gotten.
Yeah, right. So like he's not always been that guy at the goal line, right? He's always been their backup running back. So it should be interesting to see if he wants to stick around with the defending champs or take his talent somewhere else.
I think he's definitely out. From what just off the buzz rumors I've been listening to, I think there's a lot of teams that are going to go after him, and I think after winning Super Bowl MVP, if you're him, you're like, okay, I'm getting the money I deserve, which is fair. However, in the Seahawks are in a weird position now. Like we all know how hard it is to go back to back. The Eagles lost their center last year, and they were a completely different team this year.
It's the power of the Kelsey.
Yeah, and they have so many other like right after that they're selling the team, like which is I've never seen something like that happen. They have so many question marks with Reek Woolen, Kobe Bryant, Mafe, Josh Jobe. Like that defense is what won them the Super Bowl. Like on top of like the coaching as well, obviously. But that they're gonna have to ask a lot of questions right now with the free agency coming up. If they don't keep that defense, I don't think that they're contenders again. I think it's going to be – I still think it's going to be an NFC team, but I think it's going to be the door's open now for the other NFC teams to come in.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like I think one of this matchup this year is one of those, I guess you would say, storybook matchups, right? Like the team just had it going this year, right? Everything just kind of felt like it fell into place, right? Smith-Njigga, dog.
Yeah. Offensive play of the year, by the way.
Yeah, like guy's crazy. You know, you could throw into triple coverage and still find a way to catch that ball. So, yeah, I mean, it really should be interesting to see what they can do next year. I definitely do agree. I think it is up in the air as to what is going to happen. But I think one thing that is awesome to see last year, based off it, is Matthew Stafford, right? You know, first MVP award of his career. His impact for the Rams, obviously, out there for the world to see. So. It's good to see that he actually caught himself an MVP there.
And he just fell short of the Super Bowl. Like I thought, I said it though when that matchup came up. Whoever wins that is winning the Super Bowl. It was straight because those were the two best teams in the NFL this year: the Rams and the Seahawks. The Pats, let's be real, man. They had a cakewalk for schedule.
Hey, whoa. We'll handle. We'll bag on the Patriots.
We'll let the AFC get
He's jumping in
yeah,
on
my
thing,
bad.
man.
But I do think that the Rams are like in a win now scenario. With Matthew Stafford almost at the end of his career, and as you can see with that trade that they made for McDuffie, like they're trying to beef up that defense. They already have the offense going, so I think we can see Rams as if you were to ask me right now, I see Rams are my favorites for next year. The way with Stafford.
Okay. I think the NFC's got a bunch of ascending teams too. Outside of the Seahawks and the Rams, you got the Panthers, the Eagles, Packers, Bears are all ascending. They never count out the 49ers team led by Shanahan. But the AFC had a couple injuries this year. You got led by Bo Nix, obviously, the number one seeded Broncos, and then there's a couple other guys that got injured. What's their names? Burrow, Mahomes.
Pretty much everybody.
Lamar Jackson, the entire AFC quarterback race.
Scadaboo, who everyone thought was going to lead.
But that was for you guys with Scadaboo. I thought when Scadaboo went down, I was like, I feel bad for every Giant fan right now.
So AFC, tell me why this year was a fluke and that little brother NFC only took advantage of all the quarterback injuries.
Little brother. I don't know. Josh Allen was supposed to have an outstanding game, and that didn't really happen. I mean, they didn't even put points on the board until the fourth quarter. So.
And it got their head coach fired. Now I know some people will be like, "Oh, thank God they finally got rid of him." But you got to admit, he had 9 seasons of winning. Like since he got there, he has had a winning season or has gotten their team to 5 playoff berths. Now, granted, it hasn't warranted enough getting to the Super Bowl. Now, obviously, kudos to Sam Darnold. He's the first quarterback in that draft class, which includes Josh Allen, to go to the Super Bowl just to get there and to win. So not only did he get there, but he also won. He's the first quarterback, from what I recall, from that draft class that got it.
What a time to be alive, right?
Hey, listen.
What a time.
And then, listen, I will give you that. I will give it to Sam Darnold. He was written off, went through 5 different teams or 4 different teams, whichever, and still said, you know what, I'm just going to stick with it, and I'm going to get it. He made it to the Super Bowl, and he won a Super Bowl. So I'll give him that. But we got to talk about the Patriots. This is their first Super Bowl appearance in the post-Tom Brady era. Now, many people, including myself, will say that the Patriots had a rinky-dink schedule, right? And they are the team that took the most advantage of the injury bug that happened throughout the AFC. If Bo Nix doesn't get hurt in that game, bro, I swear to God, this would have been a Broncos and Seahawks Super Bowl.
Awesome Super Bowl.
And I will tell you right now, the Broncos would have won, in my opinion.
Maybe.
In my opinion. Now, don't get me wrong. The Seahawks may have had the number 1 defense, and the Rams may have had the number 1 offense, but I still think that the Broncos would have had the best chance at beating Seattle. Because how Bo Nix is, just from how he played in Oregon, bro, like if you can go back to how he played those 3 years in Oregon, you would see why I will sit here and vehemently say that Bo Nix would have won the Super Bowl if he would have won. But I digress. But
They were close enough.
yeah,
I mean,
but like,
they just got like scratched by a little bit. I mean, Patriots beat them by 3 points.
it's insane. It's just nuts.
With no next
Listen,
3 points.
and to go to the Super Bowl and to lose in that manner, it also kind of begs the question of like, are we really excited to see these games anymore? Because it's like you have the Patriots who were playing okay. We can't knock the Patriots fully. They played all right. And you know what? If they had an easy schedule, then okay, they had an easy schedule. They were able to go to the Super Bowl, great. But you punched your ticket to the big game, and you don't score until the third quarter at all. Like, you get completely dominated. Now, don't get me wrong. This is a defensive team, which is, when it comes to sports like, hockey and football, like, if your defense is not good, you're not going to win. And you go on a run where you're just kind of like, you can't do anything.
Well, I think the spotlight probably hit them a little bit once they got close enough.
I agree.
Because, I mean, they did dominate the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. So
Yeah, but, and while I'm really, like, an advocate for Drake May, I think he was the best quarterback in that draft class. I agree. I can agree with you that the lights were maybe too bright for him. It's, he's a rookie? Am I wrong? Or is he
Second year.
Second year?
Mm-hmm.
Second-year quarterback, and you're going to the Super Bowl? Like, one, that's impressive, but two, it's like, damn, like, what are you really expecting? Now, obviously, the only person that we could ask about this, who obviously knows how to win in New England, is Tom Brady, maybe Bill Belichick. But
Let's get him on the show.
You would have to go. You would have to go to Chapel Hill to talk to Bill, but and you might have to go to Vegas to talk to Tom. But either way, it's. I think this is a wake-up call for New England. I think their head coach, who used to be a player for that team, in Vrabel, should take this loss and go back into that locker room this year, in this offseason, and say, listen, we got our asses kicked. Let's make it a point to never let it happen again. Now, it all depends on the offseason, trades, the draft, which is insane because I know Eric said that he got some news about a trade that went down between an NFC team and an AFC team. Obviously, he'll dive into that. But it all depends on how the offseason goes. So I guess we'll just have to see then, obviously, because, you got teams like the Steelers who are in the post-Mike Tomlin era who still had a positive record. You have the Bills who just completely tanked. I don't even know what to say about the Bills anymore. And, it's just, what can we do? And then obviously the Chiefs and the Bengals. I think the Chiefs situation is more of like fatigue. You've gone to the Super Bowl, 3 times in the past 5 years? And, you've won 3. Obviously, getting their asses kicked by Philly, but it's
that was
like
the same situation as this, though. I mean,
yeah, but
they
still
got dominated in the Super Bowl. Like, same thing that happened to the Patriots. Like, no one was really expecting it, but it just happened.
It just happened like that. But we'll see. This is, in my opinion, this is a moment for Drake May. Do you take this opportunity and do you crumble next year, or do you take that opportunity, come back, and you show that you're a better quarterback at the end of the day?
No, I think they run with what they have right now.
You think they just keep it as it is and they just see if they
Well,
can
they just need to improve some areas. I mean, I don't think they were really expecting how strong Seattle's.
Well, Diggs is definitely out of that team.
But their play style and everything, it worked for them all year long. They just need to make adjustments, and they need to learn to work under pressure a little better.
All right. Well.
All right. Well, let's wrap up the 2025 season. I'm going to ask each one of you to give me your biggest disappointment, and it could be anything. It could be a player, a performance, a game. It could be a team. Could be a coach leaving. i.e. Tomlin finally leaving the Steelers after all these years of rumors. It could be Josh Allen in the AFC divisional round.
Oh,
so give me your biggest disappointment, Alex.
I think the biggest disappointment is the Bills. Right? Like, they really just can't figure it out, right? And it's funny that we mentioned the Steelers too. Like, it just reminds me of the same aspect, right? Like, great team in the season, but just can't figure it out in the playoffs. And it almost seems like Josh Allen's cursed in a sense, right? Like, he gets to these big moments and just can't find them. I wanted to hit real quick, like the Patriots don't think they're going to be good next year. I think this year was just a catalyst of so many injuries in the AFC, right? Like, big names not there, no Joe Burrow, no Mahomes, no Jackson. Like, there's just names missing there, right? So, like, the road for the Patriots is definitely a lot more rocky, I think, next year. But in terms of, like, the recap, I mean, Josh Allen, I don't know. I don't know where we go from here, right?
Insane.
But they do pick up a new addition to the Bills, though, right? So I think recently this morning, was it?
Yeah.
It came through. DJ Moore to the Bills from the Bears. So,
Insane.
For a second rounder.
yeah.
For a second rounder.
So it should be interesting to see, but again, like I don't know.
Yeah, but
Josh Allen.
he's been given weapons before.
Well, like, when's the last time he's had a wide receiver one, like a true wide receiver one?
True.
Since Diggs, I think it's the last time.
I'll give it to you. But that's a Diggs issue, right?
No, but I'm saying
If
he's
he
the
wanted to
last
be,
one.
oh,
He's
that's
the
true,
last
yeah,
one,
yeah.
yeah. So, like, the Bills could had opportunities to bring in somebody, and they just haven't. And also, like, when we're talking about disappointments, I'm just going to go ahead and go into mine, too. It was the Bills as well, but mostly because of that last call in the game.
That was a catch.
Exactly.
That's a catch because I will say this right now. The next game that played when it was the Rams, the same exact thing happened and they called it a catch.
And that's what made the Super Bowl like kind of boring because it was very one-sided. Like the Pats didn't belong there, and it showed. And I think if that doesn't happen, then the Bills beat the Patriots, and it's Bills Seahawks, and it's a whole different game as well. Because at least like the reason I say that is because if the Broncos would have gone with Bo Nix in the conference championship, then they're winning as well. You know, whatever. But the Bills should have. The Bills did enough to beat the Broncos. But at the end of the day, you just can't blame it on the refs. The refs are gonna make mistakes, and you had other opportunities to score. But I think that moment was the most disappointing of last year because it changed completely of what the outcome was in the final.
The whole trajectory.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, most of us are all going to have the same idea about the Bills, but it's like, so even though I'm dealing with the AFC, I'm a Cowboys fan. Yeah, a lot of people like to say it. I'm not as delusional as my other cohorts who like this team. My owner needs to just go, you know. He just needs to just retire or leave.
Giants fans love him, by the way.
Oh, of course they do. Oh, so do Green Bay Packers fans.
Yeah.
Packers, it seems I think for me it was more like and this has been a running issue with the Cowboys, in my opinion. We have always had an ability to just trade away good players or just let good players walk. You know, Zeke, we just let him walk. He ended up playing in New England for one season and came back, and we barely used him. And then we decided, you know what, hey, let's just give Micah Parsons to the Green Bay, the team that has predominantly kicked our ass, every time we go and play them in the wild card game. But outside of my Cowboys not doing the right thing always, I'm really shocked about the Eagles. Like, you guys, yeah, we're looking at you, Cody.
Are you though?
I mean, I'm surprised because you went from
yeah.
a season where you predominantly your entire scheme was the run game.
Yeah.
You used Saquon pretty much 90% of every touch on every down, and then this year you barely use him. It's like, what happened?
They used Saquon, but he was getting covered really hard. I don't think he was fighting as hard as he did the year before. Like his come off of the Giants.
Yeah, but still, what? So you get a chip on the shoulder because you get traded, or you leave and not traded. You leave in the off season, and then all of a sudden, like your coach, what is Sirianni doing?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's more. I think you gotta look deeper at the guy at the helm, right? The guy at the helm is the problem. I think with Philly.
We don't want to believe that.
I don't know if we want to touch that topic this time through, but eventually.
Cody's about to get upset.
Take
him on the Jets. Don't worry.
Oh, I forgot you are a Jets fan. Oh, man, I'm sorry.
What about you, Cody? Biggest disappointment of the NFL season?
My biggest disappointment was Pittsburgh thinking that Aaron Rodgers was going to do anything for them.
Oh,
honestly.
Okay.
I mean, I think he's just washed up. He's done. The Jets took him on, and he played one play, I think.
Wait, didn't he get hurt his first game?
He got hurt the second
drive.
drive, yeah.
Second down.
So I mean, I think when that happened, I think it was time for him to just hang it up. I don't know why the league is just like hanging on to him like he's like.
It's because they held on to Tom Brady.
But he's not Tom Brady.
That's true.
He's the guy that's got to go on the mic and say something dumb, so that I feel like just keeps him around, just to make it interesting.
Yeah.
He was great. Don't get me wrong. Like
No,
the Packers can't take it away from him. He was
Had his prime, of
Yeah.
course, but
That's it, man.
I think the NFL is the ultimate cutthroat business. I think if there was a better alternative for Aaron Rodgers, teams would pick that better alternative. But
Don't forget the
Yeah.
franchise tags, by the way. Brees Hall got his franchise tag. They tagged him. Daniel Jones got his franchise tag. So there are a lot of teams that did their franchise tags over the past couple of days. So that's also something you got to keep an eye on, which I know, Alex, you touched upon Kenneth Walker not getting the franchise tag, which is very stupid of Seattle. I think if Pete Carroll was there, he definitely would have been like, no, he needs to get the tag. But we'll see how it goes. Do I think Kenneth Walker gets his money? I think he does. But if Seattle is very smart, they'll want to bring him back and give him whatever he wants. Because, That's your reigning
Super Bowl
Finals
MVP.
MVP, Super Bowl MVP.
I think we check back on that when the franchise tag deadline occurs.
That's
and then
true.
We can
Exciting
sit
weeks
there
are coming. Yeah.
discuss everybody that got tagged, didn't get tagged. So from one season's ending to another season's beginning, we got the MLB season.
Oh, God,
Just starting. World Baseball Classics just getting underway. MLB season's mid-spring spring training, pardon me. The AL is going to be Alex and Yark. The NL, Alejandro and Cody. Let's start off with the NL this time.
All right.
You guys have the Dodgers, but we're gonna
The
treat them.
epitome of baseball, apparently.
We're gonna treat them like the Thunder since they are the defending champions.
Back-to-back champions, by the way.
That's back-to-back champions. We're gonna take them out of the equation in the short term and tell me who's gonna be who's your sleeper teams, who's winning divisions. Tell me.
I'm going to have to say the team I like to watch are the Cubs, the Cubbies, as some would say, all my Chicago people, just because of their young core. When I've talked to a lot of people about the Cubs, the first thing that everyone says is, oh, well, they're too young. You know, they don't really know. They don't really have a sense of, like, a direction that they want to go into. But for me, it's like if you really, like, dug deep and watched how this team plays, from their pitching rotation to their bullpen to the players that they put out on a night-to-night basis, you can just see how much they've improved over the past 3 years if you really look at it. However, that doesn't mean that they're going to be my favorites to win any division. I still think, you know, the Brewers are going to be a team to obviously watch, even though they lost Freddie Peralta to the Mets in that trade, which, you know, obviously being a Mets fan, you know, I love every minute of that. Obviously, you know, sticking with the Mets, I do think that if there was any time for the Mets to take on the actual division in the NL East, I think it would be this year. Obviously, you can't rule out the Phillies because the Phillies are also, you know, they brought back Schwarber. You know, they've, you know, solidified their bullpen with some of their pickups. So you really can't look past them. However, I think this is the Mets' biggest opportunity to do well with their new additions. We got rid of all of our fan favorites. We got rid of Pete Alonso. We let him walk. We traded Jeff McNeil. We traded Nimmo for Marcus Semien. Like, you know, we picked up Bo Bichette, which is, I think, is huge. And obviously, I know you guys are talking about the American League, so I'm assuming you guys are going to talk about the Blue Jays. So, but like taking Bo Bichette, who, in my opinion, was the Blue Jays' MVP outside of Vlad Guerrero Jr., just shows how much our owner wants to make the team better. Obviously, there are a lot of still questions that we need to answer. And hopefully as the season starts, even though we're in spring training now, you know, and obviously with the World Baseball Classic being present, we'll obviously be able to answer those questions hopefully soon. But I know that we said we're going to take out the Dodgers, but we just can't take out the Dodgers. Like, the Dodgers, in my opinion, for those of you who have listened to us back in episode 0, they are, in my opinion, what the epitome of true culture is for the MLB. You know, just showing that, yes, we can spend all this money. And I hate repeating it because I sound like I'm a broken record, but the fact that you spent $1 billion on 2 players, you know, Shohei Ohtani and Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and you deferred their whole contracts, it's like you look at these minority owners, like obviously Magic Johnson is a minority owner, you got like other players in other leagues who are minority owners of the Dodgers, but it's like, look at how that team is constructed from top to bottom, like from the owners down to Dave Roberts, down to the pitching coaches, the pitching staff, the pitchers. Like, you can't sit there and tell me that you have 7 players for 6 spots in your pitching rotation, and you decide to take a 24-year-old Japanese superstar in Roki Sasaki and decide, hey, you know, we'll just make you our closer, and you turn out to be the World Series MVP. It's like, it's just insane what the Dodgers have been able to do, and it's, I don't know what you think, Cody, but it's like, to sit there, win back-to-back, and then go out of your way to go get the hottest free agent in Kyle Tucker. You just spent $240 million on him for 4 years, I think, from what last I saw. Yeah, 4 years. Like, how do you go against that?
I agree with you. We're definitely not taking the Dodgers out of the picture. I mean, they're a really strong team. They're the strongest team. And I think they can perform this year as well, or not better, if not better, this year than they did last year. My only issue with the Dodgers is they're kind of like the Phillies a little bit, where some of their core guys are getting a little bit older. like the Phillies are just becoming an older team. They need to get a little bit of younger guys in there. You got like Muncy, Freddie Freeman, like those guys are a little bit older. Mookie Betts is my age, you know. I mean,
Mookie
Teoscar's
said
my age.
Mookie said he's going to retire after this contract ends.
So that's I mean, you got guys in their mid-30s.
Yeah.
You know, they're not in their prime, but they're
winning.
They're winning, and they really showed up last year. So we're not going to count them out. Like, no way.
I mean,
no way.
Baseball is also the type of sport that you can be a little bit older and still do well. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, you look at, like, Albert Pujols, you know, Yadier Molina, Verlander, who signed back with the team that drafted him in Detroit. You know, you got, Max Scherzer, who signed back with the Blue Jays, which I think is a big deal for the Blue Jays because, with what they lost, to be able to, get back that type of caliber of starting pitcher is also very good. But, I mean, I don't know what the American League guys think, but I just think you can't. If it's not the Dodgers, then who?
Especially, I didn't even know that Mookie Betts' contract was running out this year. So
Well, no, not this year. He still has a good chunk of change on his actual contract. It's just that he has already stated that this will be his last contract. Like, he's going to finish out his contract and he is going to retire.
And he's a greedy motherfucker.
Whoa,
So he will want
hey,
another
hey,
one. He will want another one.
I mean, you win in Boston and you leave and you come back. That's like Freddie Freeman. Wins with Atlanta, comes to the Dodgers, wins with the Dodgers.
Yeah, but he shows out.
He does show out for them.
Like, you can't say in any team that he won. He was just there for no reason. Like, he contributed to every single World Series that he has won.
Big time.
Absolutely. But, I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, you guys are obviously on the American League side of things. Who can go against the Dodgers? Who has the best chance to take them out?
I mean, we're looking at who's going to take on the Dodgers. I mean, that's a tough one, right? It's like Thanos with the stones, right? They got basically everyone and then some. Toronto losing Bichette, right? I personally don't think it puts them in a bad position. In all reality, I think they still retained a lot of what we saw last year. So far, a lot of the predictions are Toronto being at the top of the AL East, just ahead of the Yankees, if not tied with them. Right? And then, like, you got Cleveland, and then you got Seattle, right? Seattle's going to try and make a run for it again. With a couple extra pieces being put in there. It is going to be interesting to see the AL, who can dominate, who can't, right? The Yankees, Cam Shittler, right? Dog.
Yeah.
Dog.
Keep saying it, right? We're just gonna announce he's a dog.
Listen, I'll give it to you. He to pitch an 8-inning shutout against the Red Sox, by the way. That's nuts as a rookie. I'll give you that.
The one thing I will say, though, that in my opinion that worries me about the Yankees is that pitching rotation, right? Like, still no Garrett Cole, apparently, right, until June.
Yeah.
It's looking like, right? And even then, when he comes back, we're not throwing him
Who are
out.
we getting?
Yeah.
Like, which version of Cole are we getting? Because he was coming off, like, the best Cole we've ever seen in that World Series.
Since the Astros.
Yeah, he was robbed of a World Series by Boone 100%. Because he was, like, every time he stepped up to, like, when he was starting as a Yankee fan, you're like, oh, we're winning today. Like, it doesn't matter. I feel good. Whatever happens, I don't care.
Yeah.
We got Garrett Cole. But to piggyback on what you're saying about the Blue Jays, I think you're right. I don't think they're in a bad place at all. I think they let go of Bo Bichette, which at first you're like, wow, that's like a huge loss. But they replaced him with Jimenez, his bat's not there with Bo's, but his fielding is insane. Like, he's such an athlete, and I think he's got. I think the Blue Jays are just looking at mistakes from last year, and they're trying to minimize that. So they're still going to be a big team to watch out for next season in the AL. I'm gonna counter your take on the Yankees pitcher rotation. Even without Cole, I think that we're still in a good place, and I think that's what's gonna. I think the team that beats the Dodgers is gonna be a team that could outpitch them. I'm not saying the Yankees can do it, but if I was to put money on a team that can, it'd probably be that rotation.
Yeah.
I think when Cole comes back, it's big. If he comes back as the Cole that we had, I think that's one of the best pitch rotations in the league at the moment.
I mean, would you say that even if Cole doesn't come back to the way he was, is he still like middle of the rotation type of guy? Do you move him to the bullpen? That way you get the short spurts? Like, I mean, obviously, like, I could say the same thing about in the National League in regards to the Mets, right? Like, Kodai Senga, we brought him in, didn't do well last year, was quote unquote injury prone. And then now it has come to a potential thought that we may just move him to the bullpen That way we can just get him for a short period of time. But it all depends, right? So, like, is that the same situation that you guys think you should do? Or?
The Yankees have been in a win now situation for the past I don't know how many years. So they're even though even though you don't want to be aggressive with Cole coming back, you're gonna have to. So like I think the best way is what you said. Bring him in as like a reliever to start the season once he's getting healthier again, and then seeing if he could start. But
I mean, don't make the mistake we did with DeGrom.
That's true.
My soul hurts still.
But you have to. You have to take risks, unfortunately, especially when you're going against the big bad Dodgers. Like you need to do what's gonna give you the best chance to win. And unfortunately, that's risking Cole. That's Stanton putting off a surgery that he wants to do on his elbow. It's a couple things you got to do, and it's because you can't let this era of the Yankees pass by, which is what Cashman has been doing and Boone. So I still think the Yankees are going to be contenders, just based off because they're the Yankees, obviously, but also that pitching rotation, and then the Royals as well. I think you talked a little bit about Bobby Witt.
Dude, he's the man.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
He's an exciting shortstop, man. Like,
another dog.
And that's the thing that the Yankees don't have, a shortstop that the team is confident in, that you could be okay with,
I think you guys put Volpe in a very tough situation. I think any player jumping into that situation post your captain is a difficult thing to do. Like I felt like you guys should have put an actual star, like grab somebody in the market or But I mean, hey, listen, every team makes mistakes, I guess.
I don't blame Volpe because it's still, like you said, it's the way we handled him.
Yeah.
So yeah, he came out of our farm and he's doing great things at the beginning, and then he has a dip. So what do you do when a player has a dip? Next guy up, and then that's how it goes. You don't keep rewarding players with starts if they're not performing.
Yeah.
You just
I get it. I'm with you on that.
We're like the only team that does that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of teams in the league that do that. I know that the Guardians did it for some time. That's how Lindor became great. I know the Angels did that when Trout went out. And he came back and he really wasn't hitting the way that he was hitting. Obviously, like even with the National League too, a lot of teams did the same thing. Milwaukee did that with Churio, and that's why Churio now is like their superstar player. And then obviously Pittsburgh. I mean, well, we really can't talk Pittsburgh because I would say O'Neal Cruz, but O'Neal Cruz, he wasn't doing well at shortstop because he's a taller player, so they moved him to center field, and they were like, okay, and then now he's done, better. Yeah. But, every team has had that capability of doing something like that, but, I mean, I agree with you. It's not Volpe's fault.
Yeah.
It's a high expectation. When you come into a team that their star guy or their captain played a position player, and then you bring in a new guy in to fill in that role, it's always harder for the next person because there's a high or unrealistic expectation. But, I mean... And
you can stay off social media all you want, but there's always going to be Jeter's name whispered in your ear.
Absolutely.
Shortstop of the Yankees.
I get it.
But I just think that, like, when he's having those dips of performances, sit him off for a little bit, give him a breather. Don't just keep forcing him onto the lineup, having him... just drown because it kills his confidence too, and you just got to handle him better. That's all it is.
Do they move Volpe around at all?
No.
I don't think he plays any other position outside of that.
No.
Well, that's like...
They have Cabrera that can play shortstop.
That's true.
But
the
then
thing
where does
is,
Volpe go?
it also turns into that situation of like Bo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Bo is a superstar shortstop. He comes to the Mets. He's not playing shortstop. He's playing third base. First of all, a position that he's never played in his professional career. Played it when he was in college and in high school, but never played it on the professional level. And now you're expecting him, I believe he may be 6 feet, which is a decent height for a third baseman. But now you're expecting him to completely change his dynamic to play third base because he's playing next to Francisco Lindor. Now, didn't we hear about another superstar shortstop that had to move to third base in the past? I think we're talking about A-Rod when he had to go to the Yankees to play. It's almost like the same thing. And our captain, and our quote-unquote captain, was David Wright, who played third base. So I can definitely see where it would be incredibly difficult for Volpe to live up to that expectation, even though it's, in my opinion, is very unrealistic. But it's also like every player that plays third base for the Mets, you're living up to David Wright.
Yeah.
Now, granted, he wasn't the end-all, be-all, greatest third baseman of all time, but when a team names their captain, any person that comes in after that player is always going to get like the toughest time.
And I think it just raises so many questions. Like, the Yankees, what are you doing? Like, why do you bring in McMahon? Why do you bring in Cabrera? Why do you bring in Amat Rosario and then don't use them? Like, the whole point is to have depth, right? So why aren't we using the depth? Like, Cabrera could play in third and shortstop. And then McMahon's fielding is insane. Like him on third base is ridiculous. If he had a bat, we'd be having different conversations about him. But it's just like, why do we make these moves if we're not going to use it? That's what I don't understand.
Yeah.
This is why I say that the culture that the Dodgers are creating is
Exactly.
so important, because it's like you're bringing in people and you're bringing in people and you're bringing in people. You got your bench taking less money to come and stay on the team. Like you got Kiki Hernandez, who in my opinion is their anchor. I don't care who's in that lineup. You have half of the Dodgers lineup are going to the Hall of Fame. It's
Including
happening.
the manager.
Like including the manager. But yet it's those utility guys. It's the Kiki Hernandez. It's the Teoscar Hernandez's when he's needed. When every time a Dodger bench player has been called to step up, they've done it.
They do it. Yeah.
And it's because of Dave Roberts, because he identifies the opponent that he's going to face. And that's why in baseball, people say the manager doesn't have a lot to do with it. That is BS.
They have everything to do
everything
with it.
to do with it, because whatever pitcher you're going against, whatever team you're going against, every single game has a different identity, and you have to know how to line up against that team.
I agree.
Yeah, I think just to segue, right, like obviously the Yankees are the ones to look at to see what they can do again, right? The expectation is to win, and it always will be. Not living up to the hype, though, right? Superstar Aaron Judge, looking for another possible MVP type season. But there's another team in the AL East that needs to have some eyes on them with the recent addition from someone recent close to you
Don't
guys as
remind
Mets
me.
fans, right?
Don't remind
the polar
me.
bear himself
Oh,
is now
God.
an Oriole, popping a couple home runs in the season in spring training there already.
With Henderson right next to him.
Right.
I mean, listen. Shout out to my stepdad who's an Orioles fan, but like,
Shout out to him for real. God
So
bless
it's
him.
not only adding a power bat there, but two additions to the pitching rotation there in the bullpen, right? With Chris Bassett and Shane Baez. So like it's going to be interesting to see how Baltimore plays it, right? Like predictions across the board say they're not going to play well, but I don't know. They might be a sneaky team to be in there to make a push for. They also have Boston.
Yeah.
They have Boston up there. So right, the AL East is relatively pretty stacked.
that's going to be
It's a pretty good division to
as a National League fanatic, and I say fanatic. You know what? I don't even care. I'm not going to say that loosely. I am a fanatic of the National League. I look at the American League, and I only see the American League East. Because, okay, for Boston, they got rid of Rafael Devers. They kept Jalen Duren. You added a shit ton of bullpen arms, which, and let's keep it 100%. MLB teams do well when the pitching is doing well. There's a handful of times in MLB history where like a champion has done well only based off of the lineup. It's very rare. But Boston, I think, is interesting. Obviously, even though I hate the Yankees, the Yankees are a team, obviously, you have to keep an eye out for. I'm obviously going to keep an eye on the Orioles because, it's my stepdad's favorite team, and I like Pete Alonso. I think we should have given him his money. He didn't need to be a prima donna about it, I will say, though, in our defense. He should have just taken the extensions that we gave him, the 2 extensions that we offered him, actually. He should have at least taken just one of them. But, I digress. But, American League, it's a lot harder because I feel like it's more equally spread out in the American League than it is the National League. Like, I think the National League has more top-heavy teams. Like, when it comes to the divisional splits, like, Milwaukee, definite, they're going to win. In the NL East, you don't know if it's going to be Philly, Atlanta, or the Mets. There's a lot of things that can go wrong for MLB teams because they also play the most games.
Yeah.
162 games, that's a lot of games. And then you're talking about wild cards, and you're talking about, the ACLS. I keep forgetting those things. It's like the abbreviations are way too much. But the semifinals, finals, and then obviously the finals being the World Series. There are so many games being played. I can understand why the fatigue would take over most of these teams and just
Play
injuries.
every day.
Yeah, they basically play every day.
Most of the time, you see the top seed not even make it to the World Series. Like it's just,
And it has happened a number of times.
Regular season doesn't matter. Yeah.
I mean,
So what's the question is who's taking it, NL or AL this year?
I mean,
you said NL was more top heavy.
I think the
I don't
National
agree
League
with
is
that.
more
I think
tough.
they're both.
You
pretty
think so?
Even on the
You're
top.
supposed to be on my side here, dude. What's wrong with you?
I mean, Yankees, Red Sox, Blue Jays, Mariners, and then who else is there?
Orioles.
Tigers.
Oh, Tigers, yeah.
Oh,
The
Tarek
Ast-
Skubal.
The Astros.
Tarek
like,
Skubal.
and then on NL, you got the Brewers, the Phillies, the Dodgers, the Padres, the Mets. It's
pretty balanced for
Yeah.
the most part. But
The league's in a good place right now. No.
definitely have the Dodgers super heavy favorites,
100%.
right? I think it's like 26% heavy favorites.
Yeah.
Before the season started, right? And like, I don't know, it's just gonna be one of those years again, right? Like,
Yeah.
Dodgers gonna be at the top of the NL West.
They're going to coast to 100 wins.
Yeah.
After getting Kyle Tucker, like I know I mentioned it earlier.
It's crazy. It really is crazy.
You can't even like question it. Like, is this a dynasty? It's a dynasty.
It is a
That's
dynasty.
it. We're living in it, and it's their world. Like, so, you know?
I mean, if the Dodgers three-peat, from what I read, they're going to be the third team to do so in history.
So with that being said, right? So we're all agreeing that the Dodgers are coming out of the NL.
Yeah.
Right. Who's coming out of the AL though? Who do you think the Dodgers end up playing?
I think the Blue Jays have a chip on their shoulder.
I think they do.
It has to.
I mean, we know the Yankees.
It'll be the
are gonna make playoffs,
Yankees and the
like-
Blue Jays. You know, in the ALCS.
Yeah, they gotta run that back.
I said they're going to run that back, but it's like I just think that it's going to be a rock and a hard place because you're going to have the Yankees who are statistically have always done well, and obviously barring certain things that occur, it may not work out, but they have the team to do so. But then you have the Blue Jays who were just there, who just took the back-to-back champions to 7 games. And, with no injuries, we always have to remember that, too. Obviously, you lost 2 players. You lost a position player and you lost a starting pitcher in Chris Bassett, who is in Baltimore.
Mhm.
But it's like, I just think they're going to come into this season. Vlad Guerrero Jr., who just signed his extension, is going to come in with a huge chip on his shoulder, and he's just going to be like, I'm just going to go balls to the wall. But, I mean, granted, I don't know. I just think the Blue Jays.
If we're not saying Yankees or Blue Jays, it's hard to tell because the Astros or Royals could creep right up in there too.
Because the Astros just always end up on top of that.
Yeah.
They have an easy division. Okay.
Yeah, but I guess we'll see.
I think I'm gonna go with a fairy tale pick this time. I think the Mariners are gonna sneak in there.
Oof.
Which
I
would be
think
cool
the
for
Mariners
baseball.
might
That would be
sneak in
great
there.
for baseball.
Yeah, I just think that they just got the swagger, right? Like they did well last year, maybe came up a little short there at the end, but
I think Julio's great.
More
like
season,
they
too.
look like they're gonna most likely lock up the AL West. Houston might give them a little bit of a run there, but in terms of like the AL West, they should be able to lock it up for themselves this year. But I think that's a fairy tale pick, right? I think if we're someone comes out of this AL somewhere that we don't think is gonna happen. I personally think
We
it's
could
gonna
say
be
that they're going to have a
here.
good run at the least.
I mean, if we're going to go dark horses, right? I mean, you can't rule out the Brewers. I mean, the Brewers have been, over the past 3 years, have been secretly coming up and, like,
I just don't
Taking
think they
teams
have
by
the pitching
surprise,
rotation for it.
well, let's see, right? They obviously traded Peralta because they have faith in their farm system that involves their prospects in regards to pitching. But if we're going to talk dark horse, I think they're probably one of the teams that I would kind of lean back on. I really can't say anything about the Padres because obviously, even though they have Fernando Tatis Jr. and just recently added Nick Castellanos, like some people will be like, "Oh, it's great that San Diego got Nick Castellanos," but where do you put
Yeah,
him?
but they're saying Cassie's not even going to play.
See, so that's another thing too. So he signs his contract. They don't know where he's going to play or if he's going to play. So it's a big thing. But I mean, I guess we'll see. I mean, I know Alex, you were talking about the Yankees captain Aaron Judge. He's one of the main headliners for Team USA for the World Baseball Classic. Obviously, here we go again. Another one. Once every 4 years. Is it 4 years now that they do the World Baseball Classic, or is this like
2 or 4?
It's 2, right? I don't know. We'll get that
I mean, it's an
information.
exciting team to watch, though.
Listen,
It's like an all-star team.
if you looked at the World Baseball Classic teams just in general, and you look at Team USA, and you're just like, how? First of all, how do some of these players who were not healthy throughout the year just happen to be healthy for the World Baseball Classic? Byron Buxton. No, I'm kidding. Byron Buxton's
It's
the
not all
shit.
the time, too. It's only like 5 months.
It's not. It's literally that. And, it was all a joke, by the way, guys. Listen, I know that we're a little bit late to saying this, but we own no rights to any of the teams, leagues, and, conversations of players that we are. We don't own any of those rights, so we don't want any of these leagues to sue us. So please don't. But just getting back to the World Baseball Classic, obviously you have your favorites. You have the Dominican Republic. You have Team USA. You have Japan. Some dark horse teams that I have been looking at when I've been, looking at these news outlets. Korea apparently has been doing really well to look at it. They just played. Oh my God, who did they just play?
I had it up earlier.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry, guys, for the
The
team that.
preliminary, right?
Yeah, it was
Check.
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 So they just played the Czech. They beat them 11-5.
11-4.
11-4. So beating a team like that in this type of environment is really important because it just shows where specific teams are now compared to when they were the last time they played. Now, obviously, the biggest rumor is Team Puerto Rico. I think from what we saw, Puerto Rico is not going to be participating. And if I'm wrong, I apologize. We'll obviously correct or something.
They're in it.
Oh, so they are going to play. Great. Okay.
I just think that there's certain players that are not going to be playing for that team, though.
Yeah, Francisco Lindor, and obviously this is a big issue in my opinion because you're halting players who we genuinely want to watch play in the World Baseball Classic, not being allowed to play. Edwin Diaz, not well, I think he is, but I don't know if he's going to be playing like a long period of time, even though he is labeled as a closer, especially because the last World Baseball Classic, he got hurt towards ACL in the celebration win. And then this time around, it's an insurance issue, which obviously we can go into the specifics and we can talk about how it's not fair, yada, 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 but it's just not right when it comes to a situation like the World Baseball Classic. It's kind of like the World Cup.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Like we'll obviously talk about the World Cup a little bit later on, but it's like when you want to pay to see players play and you don't get that opportunity to play it because of something as minute, and I say minute because in the grand scheme of things, all these players are making millions of dollars. Like, the fact that something so minute is what's causing these players not to play for their country, it just sucks, man. It's like, damn, we want to watch Puerto Rico play.
And
even people that are not Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
Like, they want to watch their best players play. And it's like, damn, we don't even get an opportunity to do that. But, obviously, like I said, I mean, I want to know what you guys think because, the World Baseball Classic is an open topic. Who do you think has it? Obviously, there's three favorites. But still.
I think you immediately have to look at the favorites, right? Like, obviously, USA is up there, Dominican Republic, Japan. I'm USA, obviously. Shout out USA. But
just
Japan,
a little biased.
just a little biased.
It's not like we're an American podcast.
No, it's just something about the geography that's just settling me in a little bit. But Japan, man, it's like a factory for them, right? They're putting out new players all the time. There's just a new star every other time.
I don't know what they're doing over there.
It's going to be an interesting thing, but to touch base on the whole players just not being able to play because insurance, right? Like it's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, it is a business, right? Like these owners, regardless of what we believe, they do pay millions upon millions of dollars. Except for the Dodgers, they don't pay anything, but
they pay billions.
but it is like a business, right? Like you're going to pay these athletes millions of dollars to represent your professional team, right? Like it is just as if like any other sport, for basketball, sending them to even just all-star games and stuff like that, right? Like you're taking the risk for the injury, just like you mentioned the Diaz injury, right? Like things like that can happen. Like it could derail a team for sure, right? Like a simple injury of one person could derail like the whole set of what a team is trying to accomplish for that year. So it is unfortunate. However, I totally understand from a business perspective, why it transpired the way it's transpiring.
Well, I guess we're gonna have to talk about that at a later time. I guess we'll see how the World Baseball Classic goes. I guess, right? Eric, what do you think?
I think obviously based off of what we've seen the Dodgers do already in regards of signing Kyle Tucker and the culture that they seem to have created, definitely think that's going to be exciting to watch. Obviously, many people, including myself, being a Mets fan, is going to have a tough time just because we have to get through them just to get to the World Series. But I guess we'll see how that goes. In regards to the World Baseball Classic, obviously, Team USA all the way. Obviously, Japan is an exciting team to watch, and we'll just see, like you said. But you know what? I think it's time that we now deviate up until the National Hockey League. Obviously, Alex and Yarrick are handling the Eastern Conference, while Alejandro and Cody are handling the Western Conference. Gentlemen, who would like to start?
Like Eric just mentioned, me and Cody are obviously handling the Western Conference, while Yarrick and Alex are handling the Eastern Conference. You guys have gone first a couple of times. We should go first again. Especially because we started. We'll allow it. Sure. Cody is our localized hockey expert, so he can definitely start this off for us.
Okay, well, what's the topic we're talking about here? Are we?
I mean, right now, because obviously we're coming off of the Winter Olympics, obviously we're going into that second half of the NHL season. Well, I mean, we're about, 20 games left?
About 20 games left for most teams, yeah.
Who's basically leading everything in regards to the West?
Tampa Bay is looking pretty good this year. The Hurricanes made. I mean, they're always a top contender. They're always a playoff team. They usually fall off in the playoffs, but they're in second place in the league right now. So
Cool.
I was not expecting that at all. And then our Florida Panthers are defending champions.
This is our. We're in New Jersey, buddy. We go for the Devils, but still, it's okay.
Oh, what do you mean?
No, I'm just talking about in general. We're a tri-state area. We like the Devils. I mean, granted, we have Jack Hughes, guys. We have Jack Hughes. Obviously, we'll talk about him when we talk about the Winter Olympics, but,
Guy walks on water right now.
he skates on water. I
Well,
mean,
being a Rangers fan, I
Yikes.
never liked Jack Hughes.
Stop.
I mean,
That's blasphemy.
We're rivals, Nobody hates the Rangers more than the Devils do. But I have to respect Jack Hughes now after what he did in the.
You have to.
I have to.
Listen,
I'm
we'll
obligated.
let the Eastern Conference guys
No,
talk
that's
about
okay.
them,
I-
but we don't give a shit.
When
But-
it comes to him playing against us, screw him. But what he did for our country was amazing. He got his teeth knocked out, and then
Still going proceeded to hit the game.
Those pictures are going to be on everybody's t-shirt.
Oh yeah.
I mean, listen. Outside of you touching up on the Eastern Conference, we obviously prefer the West. Obviously, we have the Colorado Avalanche, who are currently leading the Western Conference with 41 wins, and leading the entire league with 91 points. But
Yeah, they only have 10 losses for the whole season so far.
10 losses.
Nine overtime losses, but they get a point for each one of those overtime losses.
insane.
So.
see, that's the thing about hockey that I still haven't gotten used to since season 1, the whole point system thing.
Yeah.
But we'll get there. We'll get there. I promise.
Very similar to soccer.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, obviously you have the Utah Mammoth, who a newly relocated team
We talked about them a lot.
from Phoenix. We talked about them last year. We talked about how they were named as the Utah Hockey Club, which we thought was a cool name, even though by itself. Obviously you can't use those type of names in other sports like the Washington football team. But in this instance, it actually went really well with Utah. They've officially changed their name to the Utah Mammoth. And they've had a really positive impact, in my opinion, since they came, since they did the relocation. I mean, obviously, anybody could jump in at that point if you really looked at it, but I will firmly stick to the belief that expansion teams have continued to do really well in the Big Four sports. Obviously, with we talked about San Diego FC, we will be too, because we're going to talk about that. But also the Las Vegas Golden Knights, who are currently leading the Pacific Division with 70 points and 28 wins.
Mm-hmm.
It just basically shows, in my opinion, how in the Western Conference it seems it's a little bit more spread out in regards of wins outside of the Avalanche.
It definitely is, because when you look at the top teams in the West, they're usually pretty far ahead of the pack. You got the Avalanche with 91 points. They're the first in their division, but the Knights are first in their division. They only have 72 points.
Which is,
they're well ahead of the pack, and two different divisions, but these teams are both first place in their division.
Yeah, 72 points doesn't even get you in the wild card in the East,
So there's a lot of wins that go on in the Western Conference. I'd say more than on the Eastern side, but
I get it. I mean, I know you talked about the Lightning, Cody, but
Yeah, they're an impressive team. I think they have a good program. They've won, 2 in the last 10 years?
Mm-hmm.
I think the last 10 years they made it to the playoff every year. So, I don't know. It's, as far as my memory goes, I just see the Tampa Bay Lightning always in the conversation when it comes close to playoff time.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
So I am new to hockey, actually.
Okay.
So,
I mean, hey, I am
and it's
too,
funny
so.
that I'm going to make the announcement here that I am a Nashville Predators fan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. There we
And
go.
some of my friends that might end up listening to this podcast maybe tomorrow are going to make fun of me for it because I've just magically spawned into a team that went from being really bad last year to this year, right? Looking at them, they're 27, 26, right? They're not really nothing too crazy, but looking at what it is, I know Tampa Bay is a powerhouse team for sure. Carolina's up there also for the Eastern Conference. You look all the way at the bottom there.
The Rangers.
But it's good to see also, like, I got some friends that are Islander fans, right? Like, it's like good to see them in the middle of the pack there, 35-22 with 75 points. So it's good to see that, like, they're doing well. But it looks like when you look at the East too, based on just them playing themselves, East against East teams, they tend to win against each other, if that makes sense, right? Like top team Carolina, they're 22-9-3 against East teams. Tampa Bay's 20-12-3. Buffalo's up there 22-12-4.
Sabres.
Right? Like, but when you look at like them playing Atlantic, like the Atlantic Division, I think it is, right? Is that what they call it?
I think so.
Atlantic and
The top teams in the East do not fare as well, right? Carolina 10-6-2, Tampa Bay 10-4-1. Pittsburgh's up there, but they're 7-9-1, right? So it definitely looks like it depends. Yeah, it definitely depends, I guess, who they're playing for the most part. But
I mean, talking about hockey also being new, last season, for those of you who have listened to us, like I was deciding what team I was going to eventually ride with. I did eventually say I was going to ride with the Rangers, but I don't know, man.
Want to because they're doing bad this year.
Absolutely. I'm a classic bandwagon hockey fan. It's all about the Canadians. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. No, listen, no disrespect to any Canada fans, even though I do think that you guys need to market your superstars a lot better. But the reason why I'm mentioning that is because obviously, the Panthers, who are, have had a lackluster season, in my opinion, compared to last year, obviously winning the Stanley Cup in their defense, because I believe they too are back-to-back.
Yeah.
We're both against the Oilers. Am I right?
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah.
Well, that's two times in a row that obviously a superstar player like Connor McDavid in Edmonton is like, obviously has built that chip on his shoulder, which obviously built a bigger chip because he lost in the Winter Olympics to Team USA. So obviously we're going to touch about that in about a couple of seconds, but it's just interesting how, again, it goes right back to what I was saying before, the fatigue. It's like Jordan in the 90s. He wins 3. Gets tired, even though obviously we're not a conspiracy theory podcast. Obviously he retired for 15 months and then came back and then proceeded to win another 3. And then, obviously some people that registered into the MVP votings. That's why certain other players got voted MVP, because everyone was just tired of voting for him every time. I think it's the same situation with all the back-to-back teams this year that are defending champions, like Dodgers, Panthers and things like that. But it's kind of hard, but not hard to watch a team do that poorly in a year when they're supposed to go in three-peat, because it's like, how tired are you? And in my opinion, hockey is probably one of the most dangerous sports outside of the UFC and, organized fighting.
It's hard as hell.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Like, you're skating on, like, a quarter-inch of a blade on ice. Like
you lost me on skating.
Yeah. So it's like, and obviously Cody played, when he was younger, so he obviously knows, and he'll be able to tell us for sure. But it's like, I don't know how you guys can do that. Like you guys in the hockey world are just, I almost envy you guys because you guys can do it, but I don't envy you guys because you guys get your teeth knocked out. You guys, obviously there have been very terrible accidents in the past where people have gotten, have died on the ice, and obviously the league has taken huge precautions in making sure that doesn't happen anymore. Obviously, I mean, I guess, but it just, this type of conversation obviously will transition over into, now we're obviously going to talk about the Winter Olympics, and congratulations to Team USA. USA. For both men and women, you both did it. I think from what I was reading, this is the first time that a country has had both their men and their women win in the Winter Olympics. Ironically enough, Team USA, both men's and women's, beat Team Canada to get the gold in almost the same fashion, I think, right?
Yeah.
Because, Canada was leading the women 1-0 by, ending of the second period, and then, USA came back to win 2-1, and then the same thing happened with the men's. And it's just obviously we're going to talk about our favorite moments about the whole Winter Olympics, because I got a good one. But, obviously, Yarrick, you were talking about Jack Hughes. I know Cody doesn't really particularly care for him, but...
No, I like him now.
Well, now because it's Team USA, we're talking about Team USA. But, what do you guys think about how the whole...
I mean, I think it's just if I couldn't come up with a better script,
Right.
Jack Hughes, it came out. His name came out at the end of the cuts in the movie The Miracle on Ice, which I think is like such a crazy coincidence that he's the guy who scores the winner a game after his older brother scores the game winner in the semis, and then his sister's also on the women's team. Like, I think first of all, I think we all got to give thanks to the Hughes family for creating
absolutely. Thank you.
4 beasts, because they have another brother also that's also in the league as well.
It's going to be good. Listen, thank you, Hughes family, for providing us with God-given talent.
Yeah. And, you know, the Devils are involved in that conversation, too, so I got to
of course.
I gotta be a little happy about that. But I just think overall it was just great, and beating Canada, too, I feel like that rivalry has been for generations, but I think it's definitely kicked up a notch lately, you know.
I have had
since Russia's not in the Olympics anymore.
Yeah.
Well, for good reason.
Yeah.
But I have friends who are vehemently like die-hard Canada fans, and they were like, no, like they went into that whole gold medal games like saying, no, Canada's gonna win. You know, we're the like this is our sport. Like the Team USA is not gonna come in here and do that. Yada yada yada. And then just to watch how everything unfolded, and obviously you have to highlight the men's team who won the gold 46 years to the day.
Yeah.
To the day since the Miracle on Ice in 1980. Like, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Like, it's like you couldn't have said yourself, you couldn't have written it any better. And just the sheer fact that we have had the opportunity to watch that happen. Like, we're all millennials. We're all part of the same generation. Like, and we have had probably the best era of watching sports from like
100%.
Like mid to late 90s, early 2000s, all the way up until right now. And just being able to sit here and say, for me to be able to tell my kids, like, yo, I watched Team USA win gold. And the last time it happened was before Dad was even alive.
I got married on that day.
There you go. There you go.
2 hours.
I told you I couldn't write a better script. Cody got married.
Cody got married. We're all chilling here, and it's like it just worked out beautifully. And I mean, I'm gonna start with like my favorite part of the whole entire thing. And and Cody and I talked about this last season, to bring out Johnny Gaudreau's kids.
That was awesome.
And to bring his jersey, someone who has vehemently been a part of Team USA. See, I almost want to tear up because of just how beautiful it is. Such a tragedy that happened to him and his brother. And for Team USA just to go out of their way and bring his children into the center ice and to take a picture with Team USA and have his jersey held up, like it just shows how beautiful it is that sports does for people, because everybody, you can't sit there and say there's a sport you don't like. The people who tell me they don't like sports, I think are lying. I think this is because they haven't found their sport to like. But it's like just watching that, like as a parent, all of us are parents sitting here, obviously with the exception of Eric, soon. No, I'm kidding. Who knows? Okay, we're putting too much on Eric. Don't do that. But just being a parent, watching that, it's like, it's a beautiful thing. Like my son watched that with me, and he goes, and the first question he asked is, whose jersey is that? And why are there kids on the ice? And like it kind of broke my heart because obviously, my son is only 7 years old, but it's, talking about death is a hard thing to talk about to a child. Yeah. But it's like to say, well, that was their teammate that they lost. He went, he left us very young. Yeah. He's younger than me. And he goes, but the team took his kids to the ice because he was a part of that team. And for my son to sit there and say, wow, that's really cool, Dad. It's just like, damn, like, it's a beautiful moment for me. I mean, I don't know about you guys.
No, it's definitely, because anybody who's played a sport, like when you play on a team, like the first day you meet your teammates, you kind of like have you want to test each other. You kind of don't like each other right away, and then by the end of the season, those are like your brothers. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I've lost a teammate throughout my life. I know what that means. It's like it's family. Yeah. So for them, it was kind of one of those moments. Is like this guy played for us. He sweated with us. He practiced with us. He cried with us. All of that, and he is just a part of that as any player on the ice, because you could only imagine them thinking, like, when there was times they were down, like probably thinking of him like, bro, we got to do this for you. It just gives you that little boost, For
sure.
And I think it was an awesome moment.
Yeah. It's just a beautiful thing. I mean, congratulations again to Team USA, both the men and the women's. You guys definitely you have made the United States very proud.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a huge accomplishment, But hey.
Well, just the sheer fact that the USA men's team was able to win gold, 46 years to the day, just shows, how important it was for us to receive this gold medal. And, just to be present and willing to understand how important this was for the USA men's team and obviously for the USA women's team, I think is just great. But let's now deviate to the MLS. Obviously, like we said in episode 0, I am not incredibly forthcoming with knowledge in regards to the MLS. But gentlemen, like we said before, Alejandro and Cody are representing the Western Conference, while Yarrick and Alex are representing the Eastern Conference. So who would like to start us off?
Well, since we went first last time in regards of hockey, I think you guys should go first talking about the MLS.
I appreciate the permission.
It's only the right thing to do, I guess.
Definitely a lot to talk about. I think the MLS, I've been an MLS fan since I was 5 years old. The first game that I ever went to was Metro Stars versus LA Galaxy at Giant Stadium with my dad.
Throwback.
So I've been a fan of the Red Bulls since they were Metro Stars. And before it was just kind of like you go for them because, there's no other soccer team and, but it's a fun time regardless. It's a great atmosphere. But to see it grow through all these past 25 years have been insane. And I think Messi coming to the league, even though I'm a Ronaldo guy, I'm just say that.
I'm a Messi guy, I'm sorry.
Messi coming to the league was awesome because it just put all the eyes on a league that should have already a big market, The fan bases have grown, everybody's picking teams now and things like that. What I will say is the only problem that I have with the way they're handling the rest of the roster and the league is like, I feel like Inter Miami gets too many DPs and other teams don't get to do that. Like the Red Bulls don't get to do that. And for those who don't know, a DP is a designated player. So like a player that's from Europe, already experienced, things like that. Messi's the DP, Suarez the DP, things like that.
Busquets and everybody.
Yeah, if you want the league to really grow, like authentically, not just make it like a marketing thing, you need to let the rest of the teams beef up their squads too. Like the Red Bulls, that's when even though the Red Bulls haven't won the MLS Cup, and I've been wanting for that to happen always, their big thing is their academy. That's their pride and joy. That's their bread and butter. Like you have players like Tyler Adams, who's U.S. national fans know who that is. Came straight from New York, went through the academy, and is where he is now in England. And right now, the Red Bulls are in first place with a bunch of academy kids because they stripped the whole team. If anybody's gone to a game this year, Julian Hall's the top scorer in the league right now. First teenager to score in both games, I believe it was. And he's already and he has 3 goals already. And then you have Mehmeti, who's a 15-year-old, starting.
Half most of our ages, guys. Half most of our ages.
Fun fact, there was times where Julian Hall was only able to play the first half because of labor laws when he started out. And the same thing's going to happen to Mehmeti. I think that's why they made the game like at 2:30 p.m. But it was a nice day. But he's already has 2 assists in his first 2 games. And we're not even talking about Dos Santos, the other 16-year-old. And this is coming off a season where we fired a coach. A coach that took us to the MLS Cup final too, by the way. Which everybody was, I was upset about it. I didn't understand it. But Bradley is looking like he's doing a good job. For those of you who don't know Bradley, he was also in the U.S. national team. His dad was also the coach for the U.S. national team, and now he's coaching us. He also played in the Metro Stars when I went to go watch him play. So it's pretty cool to see that full circle, and hopefully he comes to win us the cup that we want.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
sorry, I rambled there for sure. But
it's okay. I mean, you are our soccer expert, so it makes a lot of sense why you have a lot to talk about. Alex, what do you think? I know you and I are kind of new to this.
Yeah, so I think we're back to sports, so I'm still getting kind of new to it. But from a perspective like Yark being there from a very young age, being kind of seeing a team grow, right? From my perspective, right, as a business, right, when we're talking about DPs, thanks for lighting on that, because I actually didn't know that either, right? It almost seems like Inter Miami was a project for that atmosphere, right? How are we going to integrate this sport that is not so dominant in the United States, but more dominant throughout the world, right? So I think the MLS is definitely probably moving in the right direction, right, in terms of that, right? And then based on just how large Inter Miami has gotten, in terms of valuation and everything like that has definitely probably opened the door a lot more for those types of things to happen for other teams, like maybe the Red Bulls and down the road. But it is nice to see like a sport where young kids can get into it early and they can progress even earlier into a professional setting in itself. It should be interesting from like a business perspective. It's definitely growing, right? Like the opening weekend for Inter Miami.
Yeah, it was like 387,000. Inter Miami played LAFC, and
right.
Obviously, I definitely like to talk about LAFC. They're actually my West Coast team. I obviously do like Inter Miami, just because I am a Messi fan. I think if I was gonna jump in and piggyback off of what you were saying in regards of it being a business, because the MLS is not labeled as a Big Four sport, it has a lot more of hurdles to jump. I just think that the MLS and David Beckham and company who own the Herons did a great job in bringing a GOAT to their league. In my opinion, obviously a lot of people will say that Ronaldo's the GOAT, a lot of people will say that Messi's the GOAT, but either way, if you were to bring any one of them to the MLS, your product must be doing something right. And in regards of LAFC, I like Dennis Bouanga, who's another DP. I just think he's probably one of the best talents outside of Messi that I have seen. Obviously, barring other names, obviously, of course. Like we're not talking like Hung-Min, I believe.
Hung-Min Son.
Hung-Min Son.
And Nathan Ordos too.
And just watching them play, it's like LAFC has taken in my opinion, the whole MLS by storm in the past couple of years, even though as of right now they're currently like tied in points, even though the season just started with Vancouver, the Whitecaps, and the Whitecaps. Is that right?
Vancouver Whitecaps. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm getting names right. And then obviously San Diego. They're all at 6 points, but it also we talked about a little bit earlier about expansion teams, with San Diego coming in, doing what they wanted to do recently and being at the top of the league already. It just shows how much MLS is really trying to break into that market of the American people, just trying to be look at us, like we have players that you would be interested in watching. Obviously, like with the Red Bull, for us it's a local team. We want to watch our local teams do well. Like obviously you have NYCFC as well, but it's like whoever you like. In my opinion, also being in the same boat as Alex and Cody, we're new to watching this game. But if we know the names of people that we've seen play anywhere else, it's a gateway to be like, oh, hey, there's football being played in America. Yeah. Even though we call it soccer, I think calling it soccer is also kind of messed up. But hey, who am I?
And so what you're saying, like you see the effect of it. Like the stadiums that are the fullest are the ones that are bringing in big names from Europe. And I'm not saying like I at the same time this is an American league. We do want the league to grow. We do want it to do it with our American players too. Yeah. That's my problem with the Inter Miami team. Like you have a starting lineup that doesn't have a single American player, which is.
Benjamin Kramaski, if you really want to
he wasn't in the team last year when they won it. They sent him to Italy.
Wait, was that before or was that this year? I thought he was already on the team. Oh, no, wow. So you're right.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like you take away an opportunity from a talent like him, who, if you saw him I think it was the U17 World Cup.
Oh, he was fantastic.
Kid was killing it. Like
absolutely.
That's what we want to see. We want this. If our players can't grow in our league, that's a problem. Mexico does that, with Chivas. I don't know if you guys are familiar. Mm-hmm. Chivas, you cannot play there unless you're Mexican. They have that one team. Other countries do it too. Spain too. Atletico Bilbao. If you're not from Basque Country in Spain, you cannot play for them. The U.S. needs to do better. If you're going to grow the league, you also need to not forget about our national team.
And that transitions directly into what we were going to jump into next. We have the World Cup this year.
100%, which is exciting as hell.
And listen, World Cup's in the United States. The final is going to be played literally 25 minutes from where we're currently recording. Yeah. And it's a big deal. The United States, while I wouldn't say we're the butt of every joke when it comes to playing on the world stage, because many countries can be said the same thing. But obviously you have your fan favorites. You have who FIFA themselves have already dictated as the top teams. Obviously, you have Spain being the number one team, who in the past couple of World Cups have done incredibly well, but have just fallen short of the mark, even though they've won. I would say in the past 5 World Cups they've won.
2010.
Yeah. So, and then obviously you have France, you have England, you have Portugal. From episode 0, they were currently at number 4. Now they're down to 6.
Yeah.
You said. Well, you were going to say, I'm sorry, I kind of jumped the gun there. But then you also have Argentina, who are the reigning World Cup champions.
And you're not even talking about a team that like is just a team that deserves more respect based off since the last World Cup, Morocco.
Yeah.
They've developed a good system over there, and they're a team to watch out for.
What's funny is that if you listen to our episode 0, Eric brought up a really good point too. You can never rule out Croatia either.
Yeah.
Croatia by themselves are just nuts. Every year they've done great.
I think we were saying before we've lived the best generation of sports, and we have, and that's because also like soccer is different now. Like everybody plays it now. So back then it was like, oh, whoever your top favorite teams, that they were probably going to win the World Cup, right? But now everybody plays it. Senegal is another. Senegal just beat Morocco in the AFCON final. Like,
oh my God.
Morocco's already a powerhouse. Now you have Senegal, you have Cameroon, you have teams in Africa that could potentially win their first ever World Cup. So and playing styles, everybody's learned the game. So if you know soccer, you know that soccer is like a chess match. So anybody could just come in and pull up an upset. So the U.S. has a chance to do it this time and go the extra mile.
No, the question, and this is just to throw it out to the group, really, in a sense, is it is in the U.S., right? Does the U.S. team have any sort of home field advantage here? Now, when I asked that is based off like a few reports coming around, like players that are coming from different countries into the United States playing in the conditions where there is, right? This is during the summertime, right? Mm-hmm. So it's going to get hot, right? And there's already been complaints that like that atmosphere for certain players is they're not adjusted to that. They're not used to that type of that heat or that weather, right? So do we think that maybe the United States has maybe a tiny bit of home field advantage here?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, they played in Qatar last World Cup. I mean, it's generally hot in the Middle East. I don't say that the United States. I mean, obviously, any place that the United States plays in, it's an automatic home field advantage. It's no matter who we play, especially whether it's in like the groups or it's in if they make it far enough. It also depends on, like I just said, how far they get, right? Because Pulisic has gone on an interview and said, we're going to do everything we can to make sure we are at our peak form to play against the greatest teams ever. So for him to say that, obviously as an American, we're going to be like, yeah, like let's do that. We like that. Like that's what we want. That's what we wanted. We wanted America to play on that type of world stage. But you also have to remember too, we're the infants in this sport. European countries have pretty much dominated the entire thing forever. Like Argentina, Brazil, Colombia at one point, Mexico. All these teams have played this sport for so much longer than what we have. But don't get me wrong, I give our captain a huge, pat on the back for trying to be, really in on it. I mean, I guess we'll see. I mean, we'll do this one question because we do have one final topic that's going to be, may take a little bit of time or may take a longer bit of time. But who's your favorite to win?
My favorite to win, like all biased aside of Spain. They're a complete team. They have exciting young players like Yamal. Pedri's a midfielder that's insane. The coach is good. I think my top 3 to win it are Argentina could run it back. Portugal has a stacked squad with a chip on their shoulder. With Diogo Jota dying, it's kind of similar to the U.S. Hockey team. Those would be probably my top 3. Obviously, I want USA to win it or go as far as they can. But if those would be my top 3 if you ask me right now.
Alex, what do you think?
I mean, like I'm not gonna go too deep into it. I'm just gonna root for USA here, right? I'm just gonna go out. Want to see the guys do as well as they can. So we'll just have to see how it pans out and see if they can pull one out and get to the bigger plays.
Cody, I know we kind of left you out of the combo because
I don't watch much soccer, but I'm gonna say maybe Brazil or Germany because that's the last time I watched the World Cup. That's who played against each other.
Oh my God! Wow.
Damn. Long time ago.
2002.
No, 2012. I think
you're saying?
The last time I watched.
That was the Confederation Cup.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, hey, listen. I mean, Germany is not a bad team to root for. I mean, in my opinion, they've done really well. When we were looking at episode 0 and they were placed outside of the top 5, I was like really concerned. I was like, wait, how is Germany out of the top 5? But I mean, I get it. If you think Brazil, I mean, a lot of people have thought that Brazil has kind of fallen off in the past couple of years, but hey, you never know.
Brazilians are really good at sport.
True, but so are Spaniards. I'm gonna throw my hat in the ring with the defending champs. I'm gonna give Argentina the chance to potentially go back to back. Now, obviously, a lot of people had an issue with Argentina playing France. They said there were a lot of missed calls.
The whole tournament.
The whole tournament. They were saying that we're not a conspiracy podcast. But, a lot of teams have went out of their way to say that, this is, it's not fair. Messi got pretty much everything. But at the end of the day, Argentina won. They beat a team that had a phenomenal superstar in Kylian Mbappe, who was the number one goal scorer in the entire tournament. And I just think that they have an opportunity of running it back. Now, it all depends on when they enter, training that they've been doing for the past couple of months. How are you going into it? Are you going to go in thinking that you have a chip on your shoulder and like, yeah, we won last time, but we got to really beat them now this time? Because this will potentially be Messi's last World Cup, the same with Ronaldo.
Yeah.
So we got to see.
You also got to look at history. Since 2006, besides France, the team that wins the World Cup usually doesn't do well in the next one.
Oh, well.
Italy bounced in the first round in 2010. Spain, same thing. Germany didn't come out of a group stage that had Mexico and South Korea.
Oof.
So it's
Yikes.
Up until France right now, that just made it again to the World Cup final. It usually doesn't go well for them. So we'll see. Argentina is a different team, though.
That's true. Also, this is a really quick thing that I was taking a look at everything. Potentially, there are some transfer rumors, including Mo Salah.
Yeah, it's Salah, right?
And also Ludovic. So we'll see how that goes. We'll obviously give you all more details as we go into it, but we'll see how everything goes at that point.
Obviously, football or soccer is a universal sport to watch. Obviously, the World Cup's going to be incredibly exciting. I can't wait to see, who ends up taking, the World Cup championships. In episode 0, we saw our world rankings, and obviously a lot of things have changed since, that last checkup. But, hey, let's see. I mean, personally, I do believe that Spain probably has the best opportunity to win. But you can't count out England. You obviously can't count out France, especially with Mbappe there. Portugal obviously is always going to be a team to watch out for, especially because, Ronaldo is obviously going to want to participate a lot more. But, like you guys said, it's all going to be great to watch. The world's eyes are going to be literally in the United States trying to, cheer on their countries to see who takes home the World Cup championships. But we do have a wild card conversation to talk about. Let's see what you guys think about this type of situation.
All right. Let's talk about this last thing very, very quickly because unfortunately we don't have much information all about it. March Madness. This is about to be insane. As of right now, it is March 4th, 5th, 4th. I have no idea. I forget my days. It's the 5th. Oh my God.
Time isn't real.
Yeah. Time is not real. It's all an illusion. No, I'm kidding. We're not a conspiracy podcast. As of right now, the Associated Press has not put out their final top 25 list going into the tournament. Obviously, this is going to be an open discussion, even though normally this is a East versus West type of situation. In regards to the men's March Madness tournament, you obviously have the Michigan Wolverines, who are as of right now the consensus favorites to win the 2026 national championships. Currently with a 24-1 record. After they overtook Arizona for the number 1 spot in the AP Top 25. They've also just recently capped off an 11-game win streak. Personally, I do think that the top 5 in the men's category do have a possibility of winning. You never know when it comes to March Madness. That's why it's so great about it. You get one game. That's all you got. Obviously, the quote-unquote dark horses, even though they're in the top 5, are Arizona, Duke, Houston, and UConn. UConn coming off their championship win in the past 2 years. I do not believe they were back-to-backs, though. But they're one within the past 3 years, and, you can never really count out UConn in regards to the men's. I don't know what you guys think about that, but that's just, I kind of agree with the Associated Press on that.
Yeah. I think, obviously, Duke is the team that can get very scary pretty quickly. Duke's 11th victory program history over their number 1 team in AP Top 25 recently came against Michigan right on the 21st. So Michigan took that loss at a neutral site. Just to note also, Michigan is 0-7 at a neutral site against Duke itself. So it should be interesting if they find themselves matching up against each other in the
that will be interesting.
Speaking of Duke, though, big game this Saturday in terms of riding into March Madness, right? Duke versus UNC.
Oof.
UNC ranked 17th. Duke ranked obviously up there as well.
I think they're number 3 or 4, or they're number 1.
Yeah, they're currently number 1 now because they knocked off Michigan there.
Interesting.
I mean, those games are always good to watch.
Really
Duke versus UNC.
Interesting highlight though. UNC's top freshman star, Caleb Wilson, still not cleared for 5-on-5 practice.
Really?
Yeah, still working on his hand.
Still out? Jesus.
So it should be interesting to see, and that's as of today, literally 2 hours ago.
Okay.
So he's still out due to his hand fracture. So it should be interesting how the game goes, but it is a very, very important game for the Tar Heels. Duke coming into the game obviously has won 7 straight since the February 7th loss to UNC, right? So they're coming back to back here. Yeah, I mean, this is a very big game for the Tar Heels to see if they can lock themselves in. Without Caleb Wilson on the floor, the North Carolina's 5-1 though, so they've been holding their own for the most part in terms of keeping it together with their star being out.
I guess we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, so this should be a very interesting setup for March Madness for sure.
And obviously, you know, we're gonna just hop over to the women's side of the tournament. Obviously, the clear consensus favorites for the national championship is the UConn Huskies, the women Huskies. Currently with a perfect 28-0 record. Like I mean, you know, Yarrick and I have talked about this in the past that like okay, first of all, their coach Gino Auriemma, first of all, has been a coach there for 40 seasons.
That's insane.
And their team has been predominantly the best team every single year. And this year, in my opinion, is no different. I think they are good. I think they are my clear favorite. I agree 100% with the AP top 25 list on this, that they're going to win the whole thing.
I mean, if you have a kid, you're like, and they play basketball, that's the school you want to go to. It's like a dream, you know. And as far as I know,
Shuttlesworth,
yeah,
Kemba, you know.
It's crazy.
It's kind of a tight race, though. I mean, UCLA is right behind them in South Carolina too.
Very true. I mean, listen, you also can't rule out Texas and LSU. I mean, outside of the whole, you know, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark beef, I mean, LSU has always been good in regards to the women's bracket. But listen, we're obviously going to talk more about this as the final AP top 25 list comes out, and obviously as the brackets start to fill up. Let us know what you think. I know this is our first time asking you guys, our listeners, what we think of the whole thing, but definitely hit us up and we'll definitely talk about it. Eric, what do you think about the whole thing? Obviously, March Madness is a great time to watch college sports. Obviously, with the consensus favorites on both brackets, you obviously can't go wrong with picking them. However, obviously, keep an eye out for the dark horse teams. We'll wait to see what the Associated Press does with their final listing of the top 25 in the brackets, and we will just play the waiting game. Let's see how everything goes. That is a wrap for episode 1. It was truly a pleasure talking to the guys and getting everyone here to record this episode 1 for you all. On behalf of Yarrick, Alex, Eric, Cody, and myself, I want to thank you all so much for listening to our episode 1, and we cannot wait to get episode 2 ready and locked and loaded for you all. Hope you all have a great week. Peace.
Yeah.